Thank you very much, everybody. And may I also add my really hearty congratulations to all of the winners here today. Absolutely fantastic. So welcome to our panel discussion on effective partnerships for climate action. What we want to do over the next 30 minutes or so is to learn from the industry experts on how responsible data sharing through public-private partnerships can enable progress towards SDG 13 climate action, as well as towards the broader global 2013 agenda. It is also important to understand how these partnerships are forged and the opportunities that they offer. But I think even more so, what we need to really talk about is how do we move these partnerships from ad hoc, so these ad hoc projects, to really integrated and scalable systems that require long-term involvement and commitment from a really wide range of partners and stakeholders. So with me here today, I'm delighted to welcome 4 esteemed speakers, all experts in their own field, who will talk to us about their experience with using data for public good. So may I welcome, we have with us today, we have Florian Ramseger, Product Specialist at Tableau. We have Brigitte Dumont, Director of CSR at the Orange Group. We have Andrew Zolli, Vice President at Planet. And we have Florenci Ray Benadero, European Director at Earth Networks. I hope I pronounced all your names correctly. So, in order just to kick off, may I ask each of you just to give a very brief introduction of your role and that of your organisation, just so we actually understand your background, please. So, Florian, maybe we can, actually, because I know we have some slides and I know they're in order. So, how about we start with Andrew so that we can get the slides going? And I think we have a video as well.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Can you still hear the music, or is that just in my head? there was a schizophrenic moment there. My name is Andrew Zolli. I'm the Vice President of what we call Global Impact Initiatives at Planet. That covers a range of initiatives in sustainable development, in disaster response and humanitarian affairs, and in core scientific R&D. Could you actually back up for a second before you run that slide? Or we'll just let it run in the background and I'll tell you what it represents. So our organization, Planet, based in San Francisco with offices all over the world, including here in Germany, we have deployed the largest constellation of Earth-observing satellites in history, a giant ring around the Earth. And so, for instance, if Derval was the sun, I'll just say my hand is the Earth. Okay, Derval is definitely the sun. These are satellites that spin basically over the North Pole, between the sun and the Earth, down over the South Pole, and they spin like this. While the Earth turns sideways underneath them, you can sort of see that happening in the animation, and they collectively image the entire terrestrial surface of the planet at 3 meters per pixel every day. Now, we also run some other satellites that allow us to zoom in even further to about 80 centimeters a day. And what we use that data for is to drive all kinds of solutions in sustainable agriculture, in disaster response, in countless areas. And according to an independent assessment, about 11 of the major SDG targets will be supported by data like this. That is, they play a role in helping us monitor, evaluate, and report on our progress against the SDGs. Now, where this data gets really exciting and really interesting is when you combine it with lots of other data sources, we'll talk about this later, and some very sophisticated machine learning and artificial intelligence, you can begin to characterize what you're seeing on the ground and be able to automatically detect the progress that we're making. So I'm going to show you one other thing just to give you a sense of where this is going. I'm going to show you a video in a second. Please don't run it until I've described it. A user, in this case me, goes into China and clicks on a solar installation. So could you click over for a second? Are folks back there? Otherwise, I will do this as interpretive dance. Okay. So here I am clicking on a solar panel, and solar installation, and what you're going to see in real time is every solar installation in China, instantaneously discovered, essentially the same way that you do a Google query. This is a visual query for the planet. The reason that's important is it allows us to characterize very high frequency change on the ground, deforestation, the pulse of cities, the progress of agricultural plots in the field, and not only to see the signs of change, but very importantly, the predictors of change. the things that come before change occurs. So we're really excited to participate in all of this, but that's what we do.
Thank you, Andrew. Florency, can we pass over to you, please?
Well, we are Earth Networks. We're an American company based in Washington, but we're a global company as well. And going back to what before been talked about, it's to be a little problem with the microphone.
Try again, Florence.
Try.
I think we have.
A little bit louder, maybe.
Yeah.
Mine is okay. Yes, mine is okay.
Well, we manage one of the. Thank you very much. We manage one of the largest weather observation networks in the world. Just 1 second. It's gonna be better. Like an astronaut. Okay, much better. So, the old way. We run and use one of the and maintain one of the largest private weather observation networks in the world. So we are the weather guys, and those networks, that particular network has got more than 40,000 location spots all over the world. So basically, we can say in real time what's going on with the precision of kilometers, what's going on. But on top of that, we own and operate the largest lightning observation network, total lightning observation, which is not only seeing the lightning strikes from cloud to ground, but intercloud lightning, which is very important. Basically, we are listening the atmosphere and what's going on. And a consequence of the climate change is that we are seeing the rise in the number of storms all over the world. And that has a huge impact in climate and communities all over the world, not only in climate systems, but also in the way we see the weather patterns all over the world. So we are the lightning guys, helping mining to know where to explore new areas for business. But we are the lightning guys telling a particular community in Africa, be aware, because in the next 45 minutes, you're going to experience massive thunderstorm coming into your area. The same way we work for NASA, when there's a spacecraft launch immediate, we are the guys saying, stop it because a thunderstorm is coming. And it is basically the same science behind and the same technique. So that's the trick of our organization.
Thank you.
Using a single way of doing things very easily and pretty straightforward, we can apply or derive multiple applications of the same technology globally in a very easy way. And it's reliable and it's affordable for a community or for a massive organization like NASA is. It doesn't matter the size, how big, how small is your organization or your community. You can use in an affordable and reasonable way our technology very easily. That's the reason why we're here. We want to let you know that we are able and we need to you as developers and as smart thinking people. We want you to use our data to create more products and more outcomes from our data. Because as you pointed before, Bob, we got tons and tons and tons and gigabytes and terabytes, petabytes of historical data ready for you to use it and create new ways of seeing our world and our atmosphere in a very different way.
I think we'll have lots of people wanting to take you up on that. So can we pass over to Florian, please? Just next. Florian?
Florian.
I go first. Okay. Thank you. Well, my name is Florian. I'm with Tableau Software. And at Tableau, our mission is to help people see and understand the data. So we have a software platform that allows our customers, from a small business user to a Fortune 500 company, to connect to the databases, to connect to their spreadsheets, and get a visual view of the data, allows them to explore the data and get answers to the questions that people might have, and ultimately enable them to make better informed decisions. And in the age of big data and machine learning and artificial intelligence, we still think it's important for the human to be able to see the individual data points and let them inform the decision. Because it's the people on the ground, the decision makers, who are the subject matter experts who can actually interpret the data. And we want to make it as easy as possible for the experts in the field to look at the data.
Thank you.
And we want to,
yeah,
just one follow-up on that, we want to help the private, not only the private sector, but also the public sector, the social sector, the public good sector, throughout foundation as well. So we have a foundation called the Tableau Foundation, where we give out grants, where we work with fantastic NGOs in the field on their very innovative data projects. And we also have a fantastic, very last thing, very fantastic user base, super enthusiastic customers who love working with our products for the social good as well. And here we see a couple of visualizations they've done for the General Assembly a couple of weeks ago using the My World survey data, over 40 different visualizations. So super, super fantastic what people are doing with this data.
Thank you. Brigitte?
Yes, so Orange is a telecommunication.
Can we hear Brigitte? Can everybody hear
me?
Brigitte?
You heard me already. Now, okay. Wow. So Orange is a telecommunication operator serving more than 260 million customers, mainly based in Africa and Europe. Sorry. And we are committed in this Data for Climate Action challenge because it's combining two strategic components for Orange. Orange is essential 2020 strategic program has an objective on society, and we committed to support social and economical development to improve the economies, and through the program Orange for Development. And Orange for Development has three axes: connectivity, to provide essential services to the population, and mainly development in Africa. And the third one is to support local economical development. And in this third axis, we consider that we have to offer, and there is a toolbox on which we consider that big data is a lever for innovation with a positive social impact. The second one is that Orange is committed for energy and climate change. And more specifically, we consider that ICT is a source of innovation for developing sustainable solutions to environmental issues, and we call this field ICT for Green. Orange, as it has been already said, we launched two initiatives, Data for Development in Ivory Coast in 2012 and in Senegal in 2014. And we also contribute to the World That Count, and we consider that we add to the data could help the revolution and bring a link to the SDGs. And thanks to these pioneer initiatives we launched formally, it was obvious for us to participate to this challenge and to be part of this Data for Climate Action Plan.
Thank you. So just jumping straight in, and we heard our UN Special Advisor for Climate Change, Bob Ward, talk about data philanthropy earlier on, and how important it is to really leverage all of this data for public good. I'm really interested, particularly from the UN perspective, and trying to cultivate partnerships on a daily basis. Can you talk to us about the challenges that you face? I mean, what is kind of holding you back, or how do you need, what do you need in place in order to develop these partnerships? Brigitte, we can start with you.
Oh, okay, so maybe digital technologies are revolutionizing the world around us, shaking up the society, revitalizing communities and promoting social inclusion. So it also represents a real opportunity for combating climate change. And for Orange, it's the opportunity. This opportunity is also a responsibility. That's why we push to organize and to have public and private consortium to work on this and to work on big data and how to see how our data could support this social inclusion or help to fight against climate change.
Great, thank you. Florian.
Challenges. Yeah, the biggest one, I guess, is choosing from many different opportunities. Because for us, we work with data, and data is prevalent everywhere, and more data becomes available. So for us, it's a matter of picking and choosing great collaboration. And the way we do that is we try to choose partners who really have the expertise in whatever field they're working in. And one example, for example, we're extending a collaboration with a research NGO called Headwaters Economics, and they look at climate vulnerability of different cities. So they're starting with 5 cities in the Midwest in the US, and they're the ones who actually have that expertise, because we wouldn't know, we're a software company, but they have that expertise, and they have the contacts, they know where to get the data. We don't get the data, we're just a software outfit. They know where to get the data, they know the experts, they know the local authorities, and they're starting small, and that's something that they also need to do, because a challenge is, these are very innovative projects, and you don't know whether it's going to work out or not. It's every time we commit to a project like that, it's a risk. It's high risk, high reward, but in a way, a little way to contain that risk is to start small, maybe with 5 cities, set up a dashboard so that you can monitor these climate vulnerabilities by bringing in different data sets, climate data, infrastructure data, but also socioeconomic data, because unfortunately it's a fact that the poorest are always hit the hardest by climate disasters or hard weather events. And so we start small, and then we can scale up if it works out. I think that's how we do it. And another challenge could be that because we need to bring in different actors, different NGOs, different government organizations, we are used to working on different terms, right? We're a little faster sometimes than some of the governments. We have shorter planning horizons. It's not necessarily a good thing. As a private sector company, we think by the quarter or by the fiscal year, whereas some of these projects are really like 3, 4, 5 years, even longer. And so those are some of the challenges that we notice.
Andrew.
First of all, it's a great question, and you should answer it too, because
From the other side.
the Pulse Labs are absolutely on the cutting edge of all of this work. So I don't want to let you off the hook to be part of the panel, not just the moderator. I would say overwhelmingly the biggest issue that we confront, let me just say the opportunities vastly outweigh the challenges. So that's why we're all here, okay? The most significant challenge I think we confront on a regular basis is one of culture. The data represents an opportunity for all of us to come, it's a sort of Rosetta Stone moment, right? Here's something that translates into economic value, into sustainable development value, into climate action value, and and social equity and all kinds of other things. But we often, when we talk about engagement with the private sector, and I'm now speaking as someone who's worked on both sides, we often mean, when the public sector people say it, that the private sector people should just give us their resources, and we're going to continue business as usual the way that we work. Right now, meanwhile, one of the principal barriers for the private sector is, oh, well, those communists over there in the public sector just seem to want everything to be available for free, right? And we have to find a place where our values can sufficiently cohere that we can make opportunities happen, that we will understand part of the solution will be a commercial solution. Part of the solution will be a public goods solution. Part of the solution will be a policy, technology, et cetera, an ecosystem of things that keep a balance on each other. And we haven't really learned how to talk to each other yet. We're still figuring each other out. So one of the reasons we're here actually is because of the opportunity to continue to learn that when we go like this, we mean what you mean when you go like this. And that process is slow, and it's the principal gate, I think, on our progress today.
Thank you. Florency.
I was saying yes, yes, yes all the time to Andrew because, yeah, not only for the drinks after.
Yeah.
No, because it's our challenge is a cultural challenge and a change of mind challenge. Because, and I talk from the experience going to Africa and dealing with big organizations. Let me name one of them, is ASECNA. It's a civil aviation authority for 19 countries. It's a huge organization, highly reputed all over the world, working with the United Nations, ICAO, etc. And with the good resources, they decided to deal with us just to create an observation network for these 19 countries, basically for aviation purposes. But when we were in the middle of the deployment, we thought, hey, this is going to be good not only for aviation, this is going to be good for the community. And creating that opportunity for the rest of the population taking advantage of our products and services, it's going to be good also for the community. We talked to the United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, and say, hey, this is a great idea. Let's come together with the ASECNA. And there was like resistance, and there was like a fight inside ASECNA until they realized that it was even a good opportunity for them to reinforce their social communication and their social responsibility as a company. They're for sure they are public, but they've got a social responsibility as well. Saying, okay, we're taking advantage of this, but it's not my toy. It's everyone's toy in the playground. Right. So, and it's cheap, reliable, whatever you want, but it's not only for aviation. So let's the emergency agencies dig in. Let's the civil protection, environment dig in. Every single government digging into their data and what they consider their data, and it is not. It's community because it's public funding, and we were happy to sharing this information with others. So here is the cultural gap that we have to fill in or to build up a bridge between what an organization acquiring these services expect and what the rest of the community expects from that new tool that is available. And when I say tool, I say data. It's not anymore hardware. It's data and the way you, the first row, think how to handle and manage it to create new products. And here is the benefit and the incomings for us as a company in the future. You creating new products that we will will have a commercial approach in the future. And that makes the loop complete.
Thank you. So just moving on to the next question then. We hear regularly from the Secretary General, the Deputy Secretary General, that climate action is unstoppable because it makes business sense. But why does it make business sense? I mean, why does it make business sense for you guys to contribute to climate action? Where do you want to start? I forgot to answer your question. I'll get back to you. Sorry.
Where's the...
I did. Sorry. I will. Cultural, absolutely cultural. Trust within companies, managing expectations, coming in with different ideas of outcomes. I think that's definitely the key challenge from our side.
Well, you asked a question about why are we here.
Yeah.
So maybe just to mix it up, do you want to address that?
I think that if we are here, it's because we consider that data for society benefits. It supports growing economy. It supports education. It also helps to fight against climate change. We can find maybe and create new markets. By changing or finding new business models. So it's really interesting to share all together and to see, and the first winner show how climate change and pollution impact the business and impact the economical activities. And when you are in a country and when you participate to the growing economy, you have to see and to understand that sharing some data somewhere, it's a way to really benefit to the society. And with our data, I'm sure that we will find new ways of doing business, new ways of introducing, for example, functional economies, because with digital you can have new apps based on your needs, and to use your needs, or to only use the needs only when you use it and when you need it. So I'm sure that there is an amazing world of new initiatives, new markets, and we are together to demonstrate that it's not only philanthropy, it could be business, and it has to be business for the future.
Thank you. Florenzi, do you want to go?
Well, the answer is because the old way of doing things is not working anymore. We used to be the companies, the private companies, we used to be like parajumpers. So we were, flying over a region, and we jump there and shoot our targets and go back home. And that's not working anymore. So we're not going to be recognized as a good partner if we don't invest in creating new things and new ways of doing things better for the community. I insist in this word, but it's key. The community has to rely on us and trust on us as a company creating an added value, which is the wellness and bigger, higher life standards for them. And that's the reason why we want to share data, because we want to create new opportunities on our benefit and on the benefit of the communities. That's why.
Florian? Florian?
Yeah. I mean, the short answer is we're here because we can, and we're happy to help wherever you can. But the longer answer is, of course, it is makes business sense to us as well. As Bridget said, we gain experience when we go into a new market. If we go to a city and we work with them on climate data, we learn how people work with that data, and we can then also become thought leaders in that field and gain experience. But it also excites us, it excites our employees, because they can actually get involved, because we not only give money and we not only give software licenses, we also have our employees come out and help with these projects, and they just love it. And in fact, we had a little, because I mentioned earlier that one of the challenges for us is to choose. So 2 years ago, after the SDGs were launched, we had a little survey, internal survey, to ask which of the SDGs we want to focus on. And climate change is one of the 5 that we want to focus on, to just narrow it down a tiny bit. So, we get our employees involved like that. And as I mentioned earlier, our customers, they get super excited because they actually come and chip in as well. We have a platform where people can say, I know how to work with data, I want to volunteer, and then NGOs can say we need help, and then we bring people together like that. And I mean, I don't have to tell you that an energized customer base is the best advertisement that you can have. We don't need to spend any advertisement dollars because our fans, they love us.
Thank you. Andrew?
So I think there's 3 reasons at the end of the day, and they kind of go from the smallest to the biggest. So, let me start with the most smallest in terms of me. We, and I speak on behalf of Planet, would vastly prefer to live in a world where the SDGs are achieved than when they are failed, right? I hope everyone violently nods in agreement that we'd like to achieve these goals because we are humans. And because, in my case in particular, I'm a human with small humans that I made that are going to live in that world, and I want to continue to see them thrive and prosper. From an enterprise perspective, I think all those answers, there's all kinds of ancillary benefits to engaging in both data. I think data philanthropy is one piece of the puzzle, Data engagement is the other piece of the puzzle. It's investments of time, energy, resources. It builds your culture. It dramatically assists with both retention and recruitment. It connects everyone to a sense of purpose, all of those forms of value, and it uncovers very frequently lots of new business opportunities. So all of those reasons are really good. But there is one at the sort of the largest and most abstract ring, and that is if you zoom back in history for a minute, and we think about the moments in the history of the growth of the global economy that just transitioned us into another moment. One of them happened when we brought women into the formal global economic system, and the world zoomed, right? It just went to a different order of energy. Another one is when we invented technologies of connection, and you represent technologies of connection that have been building for a century. When those technologies of connection came along, the world zoomed. Now we have, if you look at these 17 hyper interconnected, the global giant hairball of the SDGs, and never Google giant hairball. You will never not be able to, you'll never forget what you see when you Google it. So the thing that's really interesting about them is that all of those represent opportunities to make the world zoom. So if we get together, the world is going to be vastly more prosperous when the global economic system doesn't treat climate change as an externality, doesn't treat poverty as an externality, doesn't treat poor infrastructure as an externality, but begins to really monitor, measure, and ultimately value it, right? And that's the moment when we drive to behavior. So I think what we're really doing across all of these areas and with you is we're driving toward a new kind of, out of an era, I think, of big data and toward a future era of big indicators. But they're indicators that actually tell us how the real world, the one that includes all those goals, is actually doing, and we need those to make the world zoom again. So I'd say that's why we're here.
Thank you. Thank you. I have plenty more questions to ask, but I see the clock is counting us down. So what I might do is leave it at that. But thank very much the speakers for coming here. I would also like to add my congratulations and also my heartfelt thanks to all of the companies who have contributed data. As I said, I do work in the United Nations where we do forge data partnerships, and it is very, very meaningful, and it is great to work with companies like yourselves who really believe in this and who really believe in contributing data for public good. So thank you very much, and over to Robert, I believe, and Dave for the next winners. Thank you.